If you're thinking about converting your huge estimating Excel spreadsheet into a piece of custom software, you need to ask a few questions first, or you're going to spend a lot of money building something useless for your business. I'm Jake Haynes, co-founder of Pilot West Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. We specialize in helping ERP industry, so that's construction, manufacturing, distribution, and logistics. And recently we've had a lot of inquiries in regards to people wanting to convert their large Excel spreadsheet for estimating into a piece of custom software. But if you're not careful and you don't know what to look for, you could really get burned and end up wasting a lot of time and a lot of money. For example, one of our clients came to us after being burned by a development company. They asked this development company to build them software from their Excel spreadsheet that they were using for estimating. They're a fire safety installation company. And with that developer, they spent around $40,000 in a few months. And you know what they got? An Excel spreadsheet, so a copy that was in an application, meaning that it was just a software application that housed their existing Excel, just with some features sprinkled on top. How do you get in this situation? Well, nobody defined exactly what they were solving for, and they didn't ask the right questions to ensure that they were going down the right path. Then they had months wasted and $40,000 down the drain. Before you do anything, you need to ask the first question of why even build software or an application at all? Maybe you'll say, well, it'll make my operations better, or it'll be easier to onboard. But how do you know any of these things? How can you observe it? Because most people can't answer these questions with real observations and real numbers. And if you're just building off of vibes, you're going to get something that has no impact on your business. You're going to waste a lot of money and a lot of time. The first challenge I would ask you would be, why not just clean up the Excel? If you can't answer that, then stop here. Then next, you need to document what the cost is first, because anything's going to be expensive if you don't understand what the current cost of doing business is costing your business today. So if you're trying to build custom software from your estimating Excel spreadsheet, maybe you're doing it because you feel like there's inconsistent estimating, you're losing jobs, or you feel like you can't scale because there's so much of your knowledge in your head and not in the estimating process. And so that's where I'd first would start, is for you to look at your operations, look at how your estimators are doing it, and define what are the bottlenecks, what are the time wastes, how are you losing time or money? And essentially how I've defined it is it'll either lose you time, which is if we could do more estimating, if this wasn't such a hard process, then we could bid for more jobs and hopefully make more jobs. Or money, we'd bring in more jobs if our estimating was more consistent. Or maybe it's scaling. We just can't grow because this process is too inefficient and we can't drop somebody into this without onboarding them, ensuring that they understand this Excel estimating spreadsheet for the next 3 to 6 months, because it is so complicated. And then lastly, if you decide to build, you have to make sure you get the logic out of your head. Let me give you an example. There's 2 companies that came to us around the same time to do the same thing, turn their massive estimating Excel spreadsheet into a custom application. And these were 8 and 9-figure construction companies. And one was pretty straightforward because all the logic, all the formulas, everything in there lived in the Excel as formulas. The other one was much more difficult and took a lot of conversations and a lot of shadowing to understand how do we get the logic out of the owner's brain of how they utilize this Excel spreadsheet and actually put that into custom software. Because it's going to take you a lot more time and a lot more money if someone has to sit with you and interview you to try to understand how do you do things differently? Or how does this make sense? And how does this process work? As opposed to if you can ensure that all the logic and all the formulas for per diems or markups or anything else live within that sheet and not within your brain, and it's going to make the process of a software developer coming in, looking at those formulas, or even better, utilizing AI to pull those formulas out and being able to replicate them or hopefully improve them in the next form of the custom software application. And whether or not you build custom software from this estimating Excel spreadsheet, optimizing it is still a really good idea and will add some value, hopefully, to the business, whether or not you build that application. Now, these are just a few tips from the article that I wrote, links below. And if you're wanting to learn more information, check out that article. If you're actually wanting someone to sit alongside of you to see if is this actually worth it, then I'll include a link below that you could talk to me personally. We could tell you honestly, hey, this makes sense or this doesn't make sense. Or we could at least walk you through some questions you need to ask before you potentially get to that point of building. And if it makes sense and you're ready to start now, then we've done this before and we know how to actually do this again to where it can actually move a needle in your business to make it more profitable and more efficient. Thanks so much for watching.